raising women's voices.
One story at a time.
Welcome to the She Said Project podcast. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the She Said Project podcast. I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm Jeanette Jurczyk, National Director. And the moment we started this episode, I made eye contact with my co-host, Carrie, and she's giving me a look and a smirk like I did something wrong. What am I guilty of?
Nothing.
You gave me a look.
It just came out. I don't know what happened. I started to giggle before we even said anything.
Okay, because we always have to come up with some interesting way to open each episode, I came up with one of those like icebreaker questions for you.
Oh.
Because I know you're like, oh no. Okay, because Wicked is very trendy right now.
Okay.
Because of the sequel, the second movie is out. Are you Glinda or Elphaba?
I don't know. I mean, I want to say, I want to say whatever the cool answer is. But
You don't even know which
know.
one's the cool one.
No, yeah, I don't know because you could make a case for either one, right?
I think I was inspired by your scarf. You've got the green and the pink. I love it, actually. It's
Well,
beautiful.
I was inspired because I always wear black. And so I thought, I can go with the scarf that will
Scarf
color
will give
me
you a
up.
pop of color.
Yeah.
Well, Wicked is a story about two witches, but actually the underlying story is about friendship. Like if you see any of their interviews, they talk about the relationship between these two women, these two magical women in some far off land. But I think the underlying story is completely relatable and universsul, like women supporting women. Ooh, see how I tied that in there?
Look at that. You're good.
I'm pretty impressed with myself.
You are
But
good.
It is about women supporting women no matter the circumstances.
I'm so sorry. That's never happened before. A sneeze right in the middle of the show. Sorry about that. Carry on.
Yes, there's a little sniffle in the air. But when I met you, and I'm not even going to guess the year it was now because it's been a hot minute. I mean, you had started That's What She Said with your friends, and I was enamored and in awe of what you guys had created, as so many women in this community have been through the years. And I offered my help. I didn't know what it was going to turn into. I didn't walk up to you and be like, here's my business plan for the next 10 years. Let's do
Little
this.
did you know.
That it really unfolded very organically. But what I will never forget was the whole concept of women supporting women. Like when I stepped in, it was at a time where you weren't sure what was going to happen next. And there have been times where, like, you have absolutely witnessed me running around like a mad person, running my kids from activity to activity. And I'll be like, Carrie, you got to take this one. Like we kind of, we volley the need back and forth.
Look at you using sports talk. That was great. I noticed. I saw what you did there. Good job. Well, this is what I love about the story of the show, because even the show has a story. We have a story.
Oh.
And I love that it's always about women supporting women, but it isn't just lip service. It's that everyone has a seat at the table. We want there to be a diversity in the women and in their stories,
Yeah.
and we really are mindful about making sure we do that. But our story has changed throughout. That's why we want there to be a diversity in age, because our stories and our perspectives change hopefully as we age. And the show, as it's aging, we've had a lot of different variations of who's driving the bus, what it looks like. Is it in one city? Is it in 15 cities? Being open to that. And, I am kind of an old lady in that I don't like change. And so this has been a really good thing for me
You've had to let go of the
change.
reins a little bit so that it can grow. It's one of those things. If you love something, you have to let it be, let it fly so that it can go and grow and be free. And thank goodness you did, because
Thank goodness.
it didn't stick to one community. It has grown, and hundreds of women can now say that they have stood on a She Said stage, shared their voice and their story loud and proud, and had an impact on their community, their families, the women who share the stage with them. We get to hear all these really cool stories. I have to tell you, I've changed. I have changed because of the women that I've met, and that's what she said, and the stories that have revealed themselves. And for those friends who are listening who are Wicked fans, I have to circle back because the big song from Wicked is For Good. Because I knew you, I have been changed for good. And I am not going to cry. I am not going to cry right now. In fact, we actually used that song in the finale of our 2019 show in Champaign.
Well, I love
When
that.
Monica and her daughter Estella sang For Good.
And I do love the sort of the at face value, the idea of, women who are very different. The three founders, we were three very different women, but we knew what we wanted to do and that we wanted to bring our different skill sets all for the same purpose, for good, of shining the light on women. And so I think it doesn't matter which witch you are, because we're going to be all going to be one of those witches at different times, whatever stage we're at.
Well, see what you did there.
I'm now a Wicked fan.
I appreciate it. Thank you for bringing in the theatrics.
You're
I
welcome.
love it. We complement each other well.
Yeah.
Do you know who else complements each other well? Segue. Our friends in Naperville. Like, they brought the show to Naperville, Lisa and Ellen.
Love them.
And because of them, because I knew them, they have introduced us to so many amazing, interesting, fascinating women from the Naperville, Aurora, greater area. And so with us today in the studio is one of those women, Nancy Mullen. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me this evening.
Welcome to the adventure that is the She Said Project podcast tonight.
I'm in.
We're a little bit loopy tonight. I don't know. We're a little bit out there.
Okay, so just, are you a Wicked fan?
Yes.
Okay, so we're not.
And would
So
you
I'm
say
following right
which?
along
Okay,
with
good.
this conversation.
Which witch would you be?
Oh, I'm not one of the witches. I'm probably Fierro.
Look at
The
that.
hunk, the hero. I love it.
I like it. See?
We'll take that. We'll take some
Yes.
hero energy.
Let's go with that.
Love it. Let's go
We'll
with
take
it.
some hero energy. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm probably Bach, the hopeless romantic. I am. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, that's
It's such a great story because you can
really
relate
is.
to all these different characters. So, how did you find yourself on the She Said stage? Tell us the story.
Oh, Lisa reached out to me last fall, a little over a year ago, and they were just about to start gathering their people for the Naperville show. And this was a new name for me. I had not heard of the She Said Project before. I was doing storytelling with groups like Outspoken in Chicago, which is LGBT
Yeah.
storytelling, and really enjoying that. So when Lisa contacted me, I was like, wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. Tell me more about that. And then the first time we got on a Zoom together and she really started getting into detail, I was like, I want it. Bring me along for this ride. I
Well,
think this will
welcome.
be so
You're
much
in.
fun.
I mean, you're literally here in the studio, so it doesn't get more in than this.
Yay.
So, how did you know what story you were going to tell?
I picked from some of the stories I had used for Outspoken. I knew I wanted something humorous because there were a couple of folks in our cohort who were telling pretty serious stories. And so I'm like, I'm gonna do something less serious. I'm gonna do something humorous. And what I picked ended up being just the right combination with what the other folks were doing. And we felt so balanced as that kind of built toward story night. So it ended up being a good choice.
I'm glad you recognized that, because what we don't want is for the audience to sit through 2 hours of really hard topics. While they're super important, it can be too much. You can fatigue the audience's emotions. You can fatigue their ears. And so balance is the right word. We do look for humor in every That's What She Said show. So had you done any stand-up, or like, have you been in the humor world before?
I'm a social worker. We're all about the humor.
I mean, you have to, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about the work you do.
I run a not-for-profit based in DuPage County, Illinois, now in 7 other counties, and we work with LGBTQ youth. Our agency is the oldest and longest running organization that has been working with solely LGBTQ youth in our area of the state. And I'm the founding executive director. I just started year 28.
Oh my gosh.
We have grown from one little drop-in center in the basement of the Unitarian Church in Hinsdale to this social services organization with eight counties of drop-in centers and youth leadership and parent support. And now we have a grandparent group and a group for younger kids who come with their family members. And we're doing a lot of community development and professional training, professional development for schools, for the mental health world, really for any adult group that will reach out to us and say, hey, we would like you to send us a speaker. So we're doing quite a bit of that too.
Outreach.
Wow.
So you built it, and
It
now
was
you
6
run
months
it.
old when I came.
You built it, and now you run it.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say thank you for the work that you do?
That's amazing.
That is really,
It really has
special.
been an amazing ride.
Oh, I bet.
And it's important that we give a voice to all people, including you, which is exactly what you took advantage of when you shared your story. Let's see if I get this right. Aging Carbon-Based Wonder.
Yes.
So I am so curious
Yep.
about the story behind this title, but I don't want to go there because then we might give something away. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're actually going to watch the story that you shared,
Okay.
and then we're going to talk about what aging carbon-based wonder really means. We'll be right back. Well, without further ado, let's go back to that fateful night in Naperville not too long ago and enjoy this performance by Nancy Mullen, Aging Carbon-Based Wonder from That's What She Said, Naperville 2025. Please enjoy.
I kept a blog for several years where I shared my thoughts on very serious topics such as not being able to read your partner's handwriting and finding yourself at the grocery store diligently searching for cream of Sharon soup and cat livers. There was also the entry on my questionable decision to become a social worker, which has provided me with decades of people saying, "Oh, that must be so rewarding," because that's so much more polite than looking at me saying, "I'm sorry you drive a Flintstone mobile." I also offered some thoughts on my later, even more questionable decision to go back to school to get my pastry chef degree. I knew that was trouble when I noticed I was gaining weight, as women of a certain age do. But one of my favorite posts was on the perils of aging and the joy in seeing myself as a bit of a miracle as the years creep up. This whole aging process is a kick. It often leaves me wondering what my body will or won't do next. I am both fascinated and oddly offended by the fact that no one really tells us what to expect as we age. I first became suspicious that aging was sneaking up on me the morning I peeked in the mirror and I noticed that the lines I'd seen on my sister's neck had mysteriously crept into my house and attached themselves to my neck. My next frightening observation came the day I glanced down and saw my father's hands on the steering wheel instead of my own, and I almost caused a 5-car pileup on the tollway. At first, I thought I was stuck in my own episode of Tales from the Crypt, but then I realized, A, I probably read way too much Stephen King as a kid, and B, it was just my new friend, the aging process, making itself known to me in another way. Now, the sleep thing. I can't tell you about the challenges of aging and not talk about this. I have all the energy in the world at 3 a.m. And then I look and feel like something the dogs dragged in at 3 p.m. And I noticed that as my sleep changed, everything got on my nerves. On my last nerve. In fact, it was so bad, my last nerve was writing its advance directives. Around that time, during a conversation with one of my employees, I found myself thinking, go ahead. Keep talking. I'll rip your lips right off your face. I didn't say it, but just the fact that I was thinking it struck me as odd. I mean, who talks that way to that staff person? She's one of the kindest people on the planet. I did eventually mention these odd occurrences to my doc. She laughed. I was not in a laughing mood personally, given that whole last nerve writing its advanced directives mess. And when she stopped laughing, she announced, "Oh, honey, you don't have to put up with that. I can help you." And that was when I started taking a sleep aid, which created a whole subplot of adventures all by itself. In the truest sense, yes, it does help me sleep. It's what I did while I was sleeping that was of some concern. You may have seen occasional headlines about people saying they did things under the influence of their sleep aid. There is some truth to that. My friends all figured out something was up when they started getting text messages from me at 2 a.m. with absolutely profound messages like, "I like chicken." That first summer on the meds, I went to bed one night, and I woke up about 2 hours later, or at least I thought I was awake. I also thought apparently it was a good idea to go on Facebook. Now, I don't know exactly what I was trying to do, but I ended up going on the page of a new acquaintance. The first person I'd had a crush on following my gay divorce. When you get gay married, you have to get gay divorced. It's kind of a gay rule. I captured one of her photos and reposted it to my page. And I gave it a status update that said, "Feeling fabulous." Mind you, we were not Facebook friends at the time, and I have never in my life used the words "feeling fabulous" as a complete sentence. The next morning, my phone blew up with texts from friends all over the country. "Who's that? Why have you been holding out on us? Who's the chick?" And I'm looking at these messages going, who's who? Holding out about what? What chick? Because knowing the things I normally post on Facebook, we were probably talking about an actual chick. Little, yellow, fuzzy, you know, cheap, cheap. You get the picture. I went on Facebook to find out what people were talking about, and my hair caught fire. I couldn't message that new acquaintance fast enough, and I felt all over myself trying to explain to her I was asleep when I did that. The phone needed to sleep in the kitchen after that because it could not be trusted. A few weeks later, a group of folks from my agency went to a 2-day training. Halfway through the first day, the facilitators informed us there will be a meeting for all executive directors at 7:30 on day 2. Oh no, thank you. My job is mostly evenings, and it has been for some years, like 20-some years. I don't do 7:30 meetings. But I looked around the room and all the other executive directors nodding, yep, they'd be there. And not wanting to be a big baby head, I decided I'll take the hit. I'll have to time when to ingest my sleep aid so it'll be all cleared out and I can be coherent when I go to this meeting. The next morning, I woke up, I showered, I got dressed. I even managed to dress myself like an executive director. I was wearing a suit, for crying out loud. I was on target to get there on time. My last stop was to pop into the bathroom to brush my teeth. And I promptly brushed my teeth with the estrogen cream in my shower kit. I guarantee you it is not minty fresh. And I will have you know, at no time that day did my doctor call me and tell me, "Oh, honey, you don't have to put up with that." We got the unruly necklines. We got the tails from the crypt hands on the steering wheel. We got sleep Facebooking. We got estrogen toothpaste. There is a lot to put up with as we age, and so few of us see that coming. A recent experience brought this all sharply into focus for me. It was about 6 weeks ago. I'd just gotten out of the shower and my phone went off. It was my pain clinic returning my call about rescheduling my appointment, which I'd had to move because I could only get an audiology appointment to get my new hearing aids at the same time, and I'd had to move the original audiology appointment because I was having knee surgery. You can't make this stuff up. But probably the most unfortunate thing of all is what my new friend, the aging process, has done to my hair. Now, I don't mean just that it's gone gray. I can live with that. But I've always had my father's hairline, and his hairline shifted as he aged, invading lower on his temples until it started to fill in, which is the reverse of how I've understood hair is always supposed to behave. And I've noticed mine starting to do that, but it's doing that at the same time my eyebrows are get graying out and getting harder to see, while the hairline is more pronounced, and it ends up looking like a stampede of confused fuzzy brown caterpillars fleeing up my temples, with one elderly caterpillar bringing up the rear on either side. Now, older friends have teased me for a while about whether or not I'd grow a beard. I waited for it, but I finally concluded this could be the only trait of my new friend, the aging process, I might not have to deal with. Until that memorable night, I was driving home on 88 and a tractor trailer fell in behind me with those glaring headlights. I had never had a reason to have such glaring light behind me, and now that it was there, I realized I wasn't growing a beard. I was growing fine blonde mutton chops, and when backlit, I could pass for Ambrose Burnside. Or a founding father. There are a lot of things I have aspired to in life. A founding father hairdo was never on that list. And I have considered checking in with my doctor, but I'm really afraid she's going to greet me with, "Oh, Ambrose, you don't have to put up with that." So for now, I will just marvel at this miracle and try to remember that, like many of you, I am an aging carbon-based wonder.
Can we just laugh? Just
I know.
laugh
Can
for
we
the
just
next
laugh
20
for the
minutes.
next 12 and a half minutes? Okay, can we just start with how you have befriended this thing called aging? You've made friends. You're calling it, I mean, I can't relate. I don't know what you're talking about. But so relatable, so funny.
It should be required watching because nobody
all
tells us
women.
this stuff. Nobody. And I was just saying the other day, had I known what was coming, I would have just like walked around in a bikini all the time or less and just been like, check it out.
Because you can.
Yeah. And then all of these things happen. Nobody tells us.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to remember, which one's your favorite? I don't even know. Your father's hands on the steering wheel.
Yeah. Oh, that it happens.
Yeah, it does.
So did you make a list of all of the things and then piece the story together, or did you just start writing?
That I just started writing. Like all of the various things I had noticed over like the last 10 years. These are all of the weird things that I see happening and see happening with my friends. I am not alone in this. And then it just came pouring out.
Oh my God, the line about the lines on your sister's neck just migrated over. Oh my goodness. Okay.
She hung up on me when I called her. And
She did not.
I called her and said, if you're missing those lines on your neck, they're here.
I found them. They found me.
I found them, right? Goodbye.
Is she still offended, or
She's not with us anymore, and
bless her
literally, I think she may have taken that to the grave.
Oh my goodness.
But
In
nobody
her
like your
memory.
sisters. Your sisters, like, I have an agreement with my sisters. Like, if something happens and I unexpectedly go, you need to come to my house. There's a list of jobs, but one of them is like, you got to check for the chin hairs, any crazy grays, going wild.
That's
You're
what
not
your
going to have
sisters
them
are for.
laminated?
Yes, no. I'm like, all the things. We got to look out for each other.
On your list, do you have like the files they need to burn? The
Yes,
secrets that
yes. Clear computer history,
Yeah.
things like that. Type in some fake things like, how could I cure cancer? Things like that's what should only those things show in the history.
Did you just say fake your Google history?
Yeah. But anyway, that's not going to happen. But to aging, and you can tell, like, it's great to have other women that you can say, like, is this happening for you too? The jowls, and it just cracks me up. I think, it's just funny, and like, we are our best material just to
You
poke
have to
fun
laugh.
at.
You have to laugh. I mean,
Yes.
when we started this
You do.
episode, I was admiring my double chin. It's here to stay.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't. No matter how many.
Yeah, well, and Jeanette said
stretches
to
I
me
do.
just before we were running another episode, and she was like, you have something sticking out. And like my grays, they will not be. They're just like, yeah, that's right. You going to do something
They
about
do
it?
not
Yeah.
act like every other hair. They
Yeah.
do not. How is that?
No, I'm.
Like, they have their own rules. Why is
Yeah.
that?
I think they're like flipping us the bird, because everybody else is like well behaved, and then your gray hairs are like, yeah, we do what we want to do.
Can we
Snip, snip,
blur
snip.
that out?
Sorry, blur out those. Sorry.
We're gonna be in
We do what
trouble
we
and
wanna
kicked out
do,
of our
right?
studio. I don't even know. I don't. So you're a pastry chef? Is that for real?
That is for real. Yeah.
I want to order some pastries. Do you actually still chef? Are you
Not
still chefing?
professionally. My,
No, 'cause
my
we-
friends benefit from it, but I
Lucky
gave up my
friends.
insurance on it a number of years ago.
So did you do both? You were a social worker and did
Yeah,
chefing,
going back to
baking?
chef school was it was I need to go do something other than be a social worker. Let me go do something other than social services. I want to cook, and then fell in love with it and was doing a catering business with my partner at the time, and it was a really good time.
So you thought you were going to do that instead, like full time instead?
There was a thought that we
were
would
gonna
do that,
switch
but
over.
that is definitely, speaking of aging, that is definitely a young person's job.
No,
That
it is
so
physically
hard on the knees and the back.
demanding.
Yes.
My best girlfriend has a cookie company out in California, and she calls me in tears. Like, it is heavy duty, heavy lifting. It is. It is. It takes a toll on your body.
And I was in my late 40s, and my spouse was 10 years older than I am. So, yeah, that became real quickly clear that this might not be time to quit the big boy job yet.
But you've got social work, and so the balance, like, I love that I'm guessing that you aren't doing a lot of stand-up in your day job. Or maybe you are, like, to lighten the mood.
They let me speak at staff meetings sometimes.
Maybe not after this,
I tell
but-
them bad dad
yeah.
jokes.
Yeah.
The eyes are rolling
Yeah.
audibly when I'm looking around the room. Yeah.
Well, you have to give everyone a laugh. You guys do some important hard work.
Yes.
But yeah, you have to find the levity, or life is too much.
For sure.
And did you know you were going to, like, after you'd said yes to be in the show, did you know pretty quickly, like, I'm going for funny, or did you have guidance?
Lisa and I did talk about that in the very first Zoom. I was throwing out some ideas. These are the things I've done before. These are some topics that I have. They're already written. I'm ready to run with these. And these are some things that I would be happy to work on and create something new. And we narrowed it down while we were talking. Let's go with something humorous. I think by then she had heard some of the other ideas that folks were kicking around. And then the first time we came together, our very first intro meeting, and folks were talking in more detail about what they wanted to work on. I think I may have been the only one in the room who was saying, I'm going to do this kind of silly, kind of lighthearted aging thing.
Even though it was funny, there's so much truth to, like,
Yes.
like the underlying message is it's heartfelt, and those are the best ones, right? We're all laughing because you give us permission to laugh, which feels good, and it's this lovely relief. But there's, there's some truth to it. There's harder messages are easier to swallow when you're laughing.
Well, I always think that it's easier to hear something hard or challenging when you've also laughed. And I think that talking about aging in such a lighthearted way kind of takes the air out of the balloon. Because there's so much out there telling you to like fight it and cream it and fix it and lift it and all the things, when we can just be like, watch this, I can jiggle it, just like watch. Like when you make it fun, it's just like, it is what it is, and it's a great thing to be able to get older. And I loved laughing with you, not at you.
Yeah. I once watched a Cindy Crawford infomercial where she was pitching this new face cream that she had developed, and the screen kept splitting back and forth between the face cream and a cantaloupe, and I did not have the sound on the TV. So it was just the face cream and the cantaloupe, and the face cream and the cantaloupe. And by the end of that infomercial, I was absolutely certain that Cindy Crawford was telling me if I used that cream, I could look like a cantaloupe. I'm not sure what the actual message was that she wanted me to get, but I went with that. That felt like the right thing.
Did you buy the cream?
No.
Sorry, Cindy.
Sorry, Cindy.
No.
Yeah.
But I do like cantaloupe.
Yeah, right? It was a win-win.
Well, there was that, since we're on the topic, there was that cantaloupe and blueberry diet. Like if you eat cantaloupe, blueberry, and salmon every day, it was a hot diet for anti-aging.
Oh.
And I forget which doctor it was, and I don't want to misquote it, but yeah. Elle Woods, Legally Blonde, when in the sequel, she actually talks about it when she walks into her job on the Capitol. She works for Sally Field. She talks about, the diet's working: cantaloupe, blueberry, and salmon. That's the stay young diet.
Really?
That's supposedly.
Had I only known, I could have incorporated
I know. Did she mention Reese cups?
You could have eaten cantaloupe or had one in your hand on the stage. Reese's peanut butter cups as part of an anti-aging
I'm going to start
regimen.
spreading that around. Eat all the Reese cups you want. You'll age backward.
Would you be the spokesmodel?
Probably. They probably wouldn't hire me, but we could see if Cindy's available.
Cindy, we want you to sell this cream made of peanut butter. And then you slather it on and then you eat it. Excellent. All right. I think this is a good time to take a quick break.
And have a Reese cup.
And have a Reese's peanut butter cup. I'm going to go after them for sponsorship now. Reese's, look out. We'll be right back. So, Nancy, you share that so many of these musings came from your blogging days. Please share. You blogged professionally or for fun, or?
I did blog for quite a while, yeah.
What if we wanted to stalk you now? What's your blog called?
Urban Tide Pool.
Urban Tide Pool.
Yes.
Tell us what you wrote about in your Urban Tide Pool.
Urban Tide Pool started out as a book, and the blog kind of tied to it. So I wrote about some topics that came up in the book, but I also kind of interjected this off the cuff kind of weird, humorous stuff from time to time, just to keep my readers entertained. I stopped blogging regularly probably just before COVID, and I haven't gotten back to it. But now I'm working on a second book. So
when did you start blogging?
I'm gonna say 2012 or 2013.
Yeah, that's when I was blogging right in that time too, and I still keep in touch with a lot of my blogger friends from that time, and we often talk about that era of blogging as sort of like the good old days. It was something magical then. Do you miss it?
I do miss it, and I miss the culture that goes with the I like to read mindset. Now, when you're online, so much is given to you as just video or just sound, and I enjoy the written word. I like playing with words. So yes, I miss it very much.
Yeah, we often talk about like we had messes in the backgrounds. We did not have beach waves. We were heavy writing, and then we would do some funny photos, or depending on what it was. And it really is a very different situation going on now. Good for them, but for those of us that spoke to us, that that really was.
I think your blogging phase, I would give credit to it for the birth of That's What She Said.
Mm-hmm.
That was the time where you guys would write these very poignant, funny, entertaining short stories, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a different platform to share the material.
And it really was sort of what we do with She Said. Blogging in those days, in those years, it was just giving voice to all the different women's stories. Some were funny, some were serious, it was just all over the place. But it was a lot of women who were looking for a way to share or connect with other women. And then I think that it did evolve into the show.
And you got published in some of your friends' collections.
Mm-hmm. We did.
If
it was
you wanna
one
give them
more.
a shout
Well,
out.
it was just one more way of having replicating a team or something, because it was all of us. We would do anthologies, and most of those women I'm still in touch with. And one of the women who was my editor and she ran a women's website, but Leslie Marinelli has been in our show and been funny. I think she's a three-peat, which we don't typically do, but she was funny. And so I just think that there are all these connections of, whether you're baking together or you're social workers together, whatever it is, there are all these connections that like attracts like. You wind up looping back to each other and finding ways to work together. She's a librarian, I'm a principal. Like, what are the odds that She Said is your way. Mm-hmm. So another way that we could work together is you could make us some pastries.
I want to know what your favorite pastry to make.
I really got into doing the petit fours.
A petit
The little bite
Little
size.
babies.
Yeah, especially chocolate with passion fruit.
Okay, now. Okay, now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm just gonna assume she brought us some, and they're just out in the lobby. They're waiting for us. Chocolate passion. That sounds amazing. No, it's a gift. Baking, I think, is love. Food is my love language. I love it. I think it's
And
a
it's a
special
very social thing.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
we host cooking parties sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly our Polish heritage. We do some cooking at home.
Oh.
I want to know more about your book. Did it go all the way? Did you publish?
I did.
And where can we find this? Is it called Urban Tide Pool?
It is called Urban Tide Pool.
Okay, and?
It is carried by several of the indie bookstores around the areas where I travel most. So
Yay.
Naperville bookstores, DeKalb, out in Dixon, and St. Charles also now. And it's on Amazon. But you could contact any bookstore that you can walk into and say, hey, can you order this for me? And they can absolutely order it for you. It's on Ingram.
So what is the concept of the book? What is the book about?
The book's a memoir. I started to write short stories. I was explaining some situations from my growing up years to my spouse. She knew basic facts. She knew, okay, parents died. I had not shared the circumstances of what happened as we were leading up to that, what happened after the deaths. So I started to write these short stories to give her more detail about these really formative experiences in my childhood. And I didn't set out to write a book. That was never my goal. I always thought when I was a kid I would be a writer. I was a big Stephen King fan, as you can tell. But I kind of figured if I wrote a book, it would be a novel. Probably horror, but that's not how the story went. After I wrote 3 or 4 of those segments that I was sharing with her, I realized I had the skeleton of a book, if you laid it out end to end. And I kept going, and I wrote for 2 years, and I got it to a point where it was a good stopping point, and did the editing thing professionally, and then needed a break from it, so it ended up on a shelf. It ended up on a shelf for 7 years. And the morning of January 1st, 2020, before we knew the world was going to shut down, I woke up January 1st, 2020 thinking, this is it. This is the year. I have some time. I think I have healed from writing it enough. I will publish the book. This is the year. And then my sister died. My last remaining sibling died in the beginning of February, and I went into a tailspin. And 6 weeks later, the world shut down. And I went, oh my God, this book is cursed. I'm never going to get this out there. I'm done. I'm done with this. And then I don't know if y'all will remember, but during the summer, I think it was the beginning of August, Governor Pritzker opened up the state, just like this little 2-week period, and we tried. We tried to go back to normal, and of course, the virus spiked. So we shut everything back down. But in that 2-week period, I threw together this Kickstarter, and I was like grabbing all my friends going, come on, gang, we're going to go do a Kickstarter. And I gave myself 45 days to raise the first $10,000 that I needed to get it printed, because I was going to do this as self-publish. It's my story. I wanted to maintain control of the art and how it was edited. And so 45 days, and we raised that money in 10 days. And then it was ready for it to go. And it's been out since, and it has been one wild ride. It has gotten responses I never would have dreamed of people reading what I write about and contacting me and saying, my family too. And we didn't talk about it either. And my God, I never thought anybody would ever say these things out loud. I heard that so many times. So that it was really powerful. The first year, very, very powerful.
Wow. So Nancy, I am already seeing the future one-woman show based on the book. Like, my background's theater, and so storytelling is one piece of the puzzle, but with something that powerful, the story needs to go on. It needs to be heard. Tell us about book 2. You're in the process.
I am in the process. Just got a sabbatical this past year to take some time and write. My board of directors was like, yes, we think you should do that. Go write. So
Congratulations. That is a gift.
It was very much a gift. They are an amazing group of people. So I took some time and added some chapters to the pile. This story focuses on what happened when I wrote the first book. So it's not a one-to-one translation. Like, it's not, this is what happened the next day kind of sequel. Mm-hmm. It's, this is what was happening behind the scenes as I was finishing up writing that book. And then when I finished writing that book, I sustained not 1 or 2, but 5 concussions that left me with some pretty significant issues that I still deal with now and will deal with for the rest of my life. So I was working my way through some PTSD stuff because of the book, and then I got these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 injuries on top of it that just complicated everything and affected everything about my life. And I realized as I've gone through my own treatment and learned more about head injury that there's an awful lot social workers could be doing to help with this topic, and we never talk about it.
Nancy, we're going to open that door because this is really interesting and new information. So we're going to take a quick break and then pause. I want to know more.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you mean exactly that social workers could do more to help?
So when I went through my graduate program, and I have since reached out to interns that we've worked with through Youth Outlook and asked, are you talking about this topic? Does this ever come up? Nope, none of the schools that those interns were from were addressing it as any part of the curriculum. The complications that a head injury can cause can magnify symptoms that you're dealing with. It can slow treatment down. It can interfere in...
Specifically mental health.
Yes.
So
substance abuse, mental health.
Physical injury.
Yes.
Plus
yes.
Fill in the blank.
So if you think about that, you take a blow to the front of the head and you've sustained some injury to your cortex, so your executive functioning is compromised. That affects your decision making, your impulse control, your judgment, all of those things. So when I started thinking about who needs to know about what I'm learning about, the first people that popped into my head were people who are working with folks who are coming out of family violence. Okay, the domestic violence shelters. Why aren't we talking to women who are going through those shelters about the effects of concussion and brain injury? We should not be assuming that this is a situation where somebody has only one, as if only one is not bad enough. Right. We could be talking about, in the case of my background, a dozen. before we hit puberty. And then you go on to get more in adulthood. And that will slow down what you're doing with talk therapy. It will affect your ability to retrieve words. It will affect your ability to read and express emotion. A lot of that emotional dysregulation can come in. You might look totally flat, or you might be very volatile. You can be super irritated. Your impulse control can sometimes go right out the window. So when we're talking about people who have had issues with drinking or drugs, and we ask them to go through treatment, and then hopefully they will not relapse, that could potentially affect somebody's ability to relapse. It could affect somebody's ability who doesn't have problem with drinking and drugs to drink very heavily, binge drink very heavily, or start taking other substances that will make them more comfortable in their body.
To self-medicate.
You will self-medicate because if you're not feeling quite yourself, you're walking around and you feel like your skin doesn't quite fit because you've had a head injury, you might feel more comfortable if you engaged in a few drinks or whatever.
Right, it's going to make you more prone
your substance of choice.
Damaging behavior.
Yeah.
This is so fascinating, and I'm so curious to know if anyone is doing research in this area.
There is some research going on.
I have to imagine this seems like a bigger topic. Like you have relative experience that makes this, very close to home. Mm-hmm. But this seems almost common sense, mm-hmm. but yet I can also see why people would not. The medical industry is very isolated with their, they don't always talk to each other. And so I could see how that could not all get put together. But I hope that someone is piecing all of that together because, of course, mental health is so important, but the way it's all related. We only have a few minutes left, so I just want to make sure you're doing okay these days. And how is your sleep now? Are you still
improved?
Are you still Facebooking at 3 a.m, or should we be on the
only
lookout?
When I have a hot flash?
So a hot flash leads to 3 a.m. social media
might happen.
Stalking.
But hopefully I'm not texting my friends and waking them up.
I don't make any promises.
I'm
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Most of my friends are menopausal women. They're probably going to be up anyway.
I know what you're talking about. We have a lot of really fun conversations here. We get to work with women of a certain age, and we know some and we are some. But these are important conversations to have about what's happening. And we live in an age where we can talk about it.
Yes.
Which is amazing. And God bless, Drew Barrymore and Oprah for opening those conversations on, the big screen. Here on our little baby screen, we are also going to talk about menopause.
Well, then the people who aren't there yet can be a little better prepared.
That's true.
Even though I had heard about things sort of on the periphery, like my husband's safety would have, because in the middle of the night, I love this man something crazy. But in the middle of the night, when he's sleeping so peacefully and I'm over there fighting for my life, like his life is in danger. And then, God forbid his leg touches me when I'm in the middle of a hot flash. And this man was in danger because nobody talks about it. Had I been prepared, I could have been like, don't touch me. Don't look peaceful.
Go sleep in the other room.
Look kind of scowly. See, now we're helping the next generation.
This is how I got to the point with my staff person. Go ahead, keep talking. I will rip your lips right off your face.
I love that line.
I didn't. I did not rip her lips off her face.
That's the
In fact,
important
she is
part.
the one who recommended the restaurant, so things are okay.
I only thought it. Yeah. See?
I only thought it.
You get points
That
for
was
that.
alarming. Who am I?
Right, the evil thoughts you have, and you're like, where did that come from? And you have a full conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
No, that never happens. But I'm still amazed by the sleep Facebooking that you had no idea that you had posted someone else's picture. Is that what it was?
Yes. She was so cute.
And how was she? Okay, was she also in this phase and could laugh along?
Yeah,
or
she was a couple
frightened?
years older than I was. She was not on a sleep aid, as far as I know, but she was a good sport. She got a good chuckle out of it. And I just kind of did one of these. I was so embarrassed.
So
Please let the ground open up and swallow me
How
whole.
fabulous.
today's episode has been a public service announcement for sleep aids, for talk to your husband before his life is in danger, for so
It's
many
important
things.
work we do. We do the Lord's work here.
Cantaloupe
cream.
skin cream. Cindy Lauper, the phones are open. You can call us.
We've
Cindy
got- not
Cindy
Cindy
Crawford.
Lauper,
Oh
see?
my God.
See, brain fog.
Brain farts, brain
Yeah.
fog. Oh my God.
It's a real
I do
thing,
love
see?
Cindy Lauper, but
Come
Cindy
on in.
Crawford, we're all ears for your cantaloupe cream. Oh my gosh.
See, it happens to the best of
So
us.
we could spin off the She Said Menopause podcast.
Yes.
Man, oh man, the things we could talk about,
I know.
the guests we could have. I know. Keep us informed on book number 2.
Okay.
The One Woman Show. Your research on brain injury and mental health. Your sabbatical. Your amazing organization that you built and run. And hopefully we'll get to keep seeing you at She Said events, and you're in the sisterhood now.
plan.
So
We've got you
I
now.
was told that the minute I stepped off the stage, somebody from the year before walked up to me and took my hand and said, "You are in the sisterhood now." Like,
We've
what does
got
that
you
mean?
now.
Who are you?
I have a guess on who it was, but I don't want to give that away. All right, we're gonna let
fun.
you guys go, our friends who have joined us today, and we're gonna keep talking. We're gonna go out to dinner. There needs to be a couple bottles of wine here. This is too much fun. I wish you could join us in person, but if you're listening, if you're watching, thank you for supporting us. It's all about women supporting women and giving women a microphone. I love it.
At
That's
3
all we
a.m.
have today at 3 a.m. See you next time. Thank you for listening to the She Said Project podcast. All materials contained in the podcast are the exclusive property of the She Said Project, and that's what She Said LLC. For more information on our live shows, go to shesaidproject.com.